You know the man.
Mr. Doofidley.
Mr. Doofidley. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We are live again here at RoadFS and the Detail Bookie Podcast. And today we are really excited. We got Mike Murchison. And I've been wanting to have you on here for a long time just because of your videos on detailing. So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell everybody where you're from.
All right, it's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate y'all. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me good?
Oh, yeah, we got you, brother.
All right, just want to make sure y'all can hear me good. I got this microphone connected, so I ain't want to be no technical difficulties. But yeah, I'm Mike Murchison, and it's a pleasure to be here on this podcast and with these fine two gentlemen here. And I come out of Waycross, Georgia. You probably never heard of it until
I have actually.
He's from.
I grew up in Pensacola, Florida, so.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, yeah. I'm from a little country town of Waycross, Georgia. Some people like to say one traffic. Like I say, no. Look, we got at least two.
You gotta go both directions. So
awesome.
We're going to talk about a lot of fun stuff today. Hot rods. That's one of the reasons I started following you. I started following you because of your energy and showing people how to detail, and you're educating people. It wasn't just, hey, look at me. It was talking about how you do it and how you do it professionally. So that's the first thing that I noticed. And then obviously here in a minute, we're going to talk about some other things I noticed, which was a 69 Plymouth Road Runner. And we're going to get into that in a little while too, because I'm a big hot rod guy. I've been restoring cars and everything since the 80s. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. But let's start with, how did you get into detailing and how long you've been doing it?
Okay, so I got into detailing when it was at one point, we in 2025 now, right? So it was in 2023. I was thinking of additional ways where I can make some money besides just the job I worked at. And so one of the things, I was outside washing my car, and I was like, well, I can wash people's cars. I'm pretty good at that. And so I just started doing it as a little side hustle just to make a little extra money over the month. But I just felt like more people was going to talk and that kind of stuff, and it was going to be some word of mouth. So I was open to actually doing it full time. And then, as I was doing it, I had ended up getting a contract with one of the companies here, a healthcare facility. Because a friend of mine who actually does janitorial work, he has a janitorial business. He told me that they had a bid out. And so I had put the bid in. And what's funny is I was like, man, I wish I knew somebody up there, and that'll make it better for me to actually get the bid. And it just so happened that one of the girls that was actually selecting who it was, we actually grew up in the same area. Like, we used to ride the bus together and everything. So when I seen, I say, hey, I know you. And we had a, good conversation or whatever. Then I ended up getting the contract. And since then, I had thought about it. I said, well, you know what? I'm finna just quit my job and go out there full time, because I was guaranteed money. So I was like, well, I got to just make sure I keep it coming. And since then, I ain't looked back. So, I always like washing cars. I watched my dad all the time when I was younger, learned that. And then I just started just taking it all the way serious.
So when did you start full time?
I had started full time. This was, I want to say, the beginning of last year. Well, we in 2025, so yeah, it was the beginning of last year.
Yeah.
I was working at FedEx, and I left FedEx.
Okay.
And that's when I just went out there full time.
Yeah. So for all y'all that haven't followed Mike, you need to go out. You need to follow him on YouTube, and you need to go to his Facebook channel and follow him, because the way that you present it and the energy you put out there, I always classify detailers into two different categories. There's either people that do it because they see it as an opportunity to make money, or they do it because they love cars. And I see right now, talking to you, I see you in both of those camps.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into that part of stuff, because everybody on here knows detailing. So let's jump into the highlight of this. So I first saw it when you unloaded the car and you were doing burnouts in this bright orange 1960.
Bright orange, baby.
And here's the thing: is I'm not a big Mopar guy, but 69 Plymouth Road Runner is one that I would definitely have. I would have a Plymouth Satellite or a Road Runner. That year, 68, 69. So you've owned that car, from what I understand, since like 2009.
Yes, sir.
That is, he's had that car as long as we've been in business, 16 years, and it looks like it's in pretty good condition.
Yeah, it's actually it's not a bad car. Of course, it's old, so it has it had some problem areas that got to be addressed that me and my brother, we had just identified not too long ago. But all in all, for what it is, it's a great car. And the story of how I got that car is it's a story y'all love, in itself. And it's just, it's just funny how some things have transpired. It's like, man, y'all don't even know what I've been through to even get this car. Like, I remember when I said, like, if y'all don't mind me telling you,
please do.
I remember the guy when he first came in and showed me a picture of that car. His name was Charlie Moore. I don't know if he's still alive to this day or not. I haven't seen him in a while. But I was working at Advanced Auto Parts. Me and the guy whom you're seeing the videos with me that working on the car with me. Me and him, we was both working at Advanced Auto Parts back when we got the job when we was like 17 years old. But at the time I had a 1964 Pontiac Catalina that my daddy gave me. And so Mr. Charlie, he came in one day and he had all these pictures of all these cars, the Road Runner being one of them. He had that Road Runner. He had a 1969 Coronet RT. He had a 70 Plymouth Fury. He had a 69 Barracuda. He had a Ford Falcon. He had a 64 Impala, a 65 Buick, 225 Electra. All of them cars. And they belonged to his nephew. And his nephew, he just so happened to, he got locked up. But anyway, my Pontiac got wrecked. I wanted another car. I was inquiring about the RT, the Coronet RT, because he wanted $10,000 for the Road Runner. So I like, I don't know about the Road Runner, but I sure want it. So me and my dad, we went to Atlanta. That's where the cars was at. We went to Atlanta and we looked at them. When we looked at the RT, my dad advised against me getting the RT because he was like, man, it need a lot of work. So we go, the house is sitting on a hill. So the Road Runner along with the other cars is down the hill. So we go down the hill and I'm looking at that Road Runner. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. I said, man, I want this car. I'm like, oh my God, I want this car. I always wanted the Road Runner because my favorite cartoon is the Road Runner.
Yes.
So I'm like, man, I want this car, man. I want it. My daddy was looking at it. He was, at the time, I'm 19. So my daddy like, oh no, man, you be to hurt yourself in this car. Man, they got 440 in it, whatever. Cause he always tell me stories about the Mopar. And so as we were talking, Mr. Charlie, the price was at $10,000. He brought it down to $8,500. We kept talking to him. My daddy was talking to him. He said, man, you know what? I believe you're gonna take care of the car. And I want to see you get it. So I bring the price down to $6,500.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Yo, people can't believe it. I still can't believe it to this day. He brought the price down to $6,500. Motor was running, everything. I'm talking about the car fired right up where it was sitting. Yeah. Only thing was it needed a gas tank. It was siphering gas out of a kerosene can in the trunk. But but that was it. That was it. And so we come back to Waycross and I bothered my daddy to death. I'm like, man, let's go back and get the car, man. Let's go get the car, whatever. Cause I had the money for when I got in the wreck. So I'm like, man, let's go get the car. It was up to him. He was like, man, I don't know. And it took my Uncle Gene to convince him to go back down to Atlanta for us to go get the car. Cause my Uncle Gene told him, he said, man, look, we was young at one time too. What you think he gonna do when he get in that car? He said, you just hope he don't hurt himself. And so we ended up going back down there the following weekend. And then I was a nervous wreck because, like I said, the car was down the hill. So we had to get the car up the hill. And that Georgia clay. So the car wouldn't grip to get up the hill. So we had to tie a strap to it and basically pull it up the hill. Yeah. So while the car was sitting with the strap on it, I'm just nervous, like, man, I pray to God this strap does not break. If that strap would have broke, it would have destroyed the car. I'm like, please don't break, please don't break, please don't break. And we got it up the hill and we loaded up on the trailer. And I looked at that car the whole time from Atlanta all the way back to Waycross. It was like a 4-hour drive. I just kept looking at that car like, I can't believe it's going to my house.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And nobody really understands what you mean when you say Georgia clay. Oh, that stuff is slick.
Yes.
It's
yes.
I'm determined. Now here's the thing. This is totally uneducated, but I believe this is going to fall out and be true someday. If you look at pictures of Mars and you look at pictures of Georgia clay, they're about the same. I think that Georgia clay comes from Mars. It's not really clay. So
yeah,
that is awesome. So one of the things I do, I'm going to tell you a story about one of the cars I have. I have a 1955 Chevy Bel Air.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the cars that I wanted since I was a kid. And in 1996, I saw an ad. At that time, we still had to look in the newspaper to buy old cars. So I looked in this little tiny paper ad, and it was about 2.5 hours away, and there were no pictures. It just said 1955 Chevy Bel Air. And so I told my wife, I said, well, we're buying it. And because I had the money, I just graduated from college, and I said, I'm buying it for myself as a present to myself. So we loaded up my brother-in-law's trailer on my truck. We drove down there. When I got there, the body was on a set of 55-gallon drums, and the frame was over here. And it was me and one other guy.
Oh,
and
gosh.
So we literally, this is no joke, we took that 55-gallon barrel and we put it in the middle of the body so it would rock back and forth, and we rocked it until we got it up on the frame.
Oh my
God. It took me 6.5 hours to load the body on the frame and to load the car on the trailer.
I didn't know this story.
So we had to put it on there. By the time I was done, it was pitch dark. We strapped it all down, and I drove it back home. And I'm the same way. I was looking in the mirror the whole time going, I can't believe I just bought a 55 Chevy. It had no motor, no transmission, but I paid $1,500 for a 55 Chevy Bel Air. So, and I still have the car, and Jody doesn't even know this, but 2 weekends ago, I purchased a 6.0 liter LS.
You're actually going to start working on that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
dude, it's been in the back of his garage, in the barn for years. I've been waiting for him to start working on that because he's been working on his truck forever. And I'm like, but he keeps repainting it. It's immaculate. It's like, oh, there's a paint nub right there. I got to repaint the whole thing.
So what are you planning on doing with the Road Runner?
Well, now my plans, I'm gonna go back original with it. Like how it looked from the factory. Like it was something else I was going to do. I was going to actually I really wasn't gonna do too much to the engine itself. At one point I was thinking about putting the EFI kit on it. But my friend, he was like, nah, don't put an EFI kit on it. He said, I'm telling you, man, I tuned that carburetor up the way it seemed like it got an EFI on it. So I was like, okay. And so and I was gonna put a 5-speed transmission in it. And I was gonna do some other stuff like Ken Diggett, door handles, that like nothing like crazy, nothing radical. Just it still fits, its factory look, it still have a soul to it. It just look a little better. But it was a guy that I was talking to that I actually met on Facebook who has a gang of Mopars. I'm talking, he has the high dollar, yes. But me and him was talking, and I was telling him the color combination that the car came in, that somebody had read the fender tag on it. And I always knew that it came in bronze fire metallic, T5. But what I didn't know was I didn't know it had a tan top on it, a tan vinyl top. I knew it had a vinyl top, not a tan top. And it came with black interior. And when I told him, he said, man, you might want to run that and see how many cars came in that combination. Cause he said, I haven't seen too many like that. That's a rare combination. Yeah. And he said, if I was you, I go back original, which I ain't had no problem with it. So I thought about it. I said, man, you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna keep the transmission, keep the engine. Of course, clean it up a little bit. And I don't want to do no full rotisserie restoration because I'm not building a show car. I'm building a car that I can drive and enjoy. And but I'm gonna make sure the body is jam tight, that everything is done correctly. From like we ain't bondoing nothing or any of that. Like everything's being cut and replaced. And so that's what it is. So I'm gonna go back to the bronze color. I'm gonna put a tan top back on it. It's just gonna look original. Now, if anything it's gonna look original, but you can tell it's not original, it'll be the wheels. But I'm gonna put dog dish wheels back on it. But of course, they're gonna be 17-inch dog dish wheels. It's gonna sit a certain way. Yeah, it got to sit a certain way for me. but
the stance is everything on a
it got to have that. It got to have that stance. Like, look, I'm ready to get somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I mean. That's the thing about so one of the problems with the internet is that people are complete jerks. And there was a whole bunch of people that were complete jerks to you, which is amazing to me because you got your godson in there, which I can't. How old is he?
He's 3.
3 years old, and he's in there working on cars. And that's the thing is, Mike, I learned like you did. My dad taught me a lot of stuff. So when I was a little kid, we had a 69 Firebird. with the HO hood, the tachometer, metallic green. And I loved it. And he would take us out on the weekends, and it was the thing. He'd be like, all right, now don't tell your mother. And so he'd take us out, and we'd go real fast, Dad, go real fast. He'd get out on the freeway, man, and he'd just hammer down on that thing. And it was just a blast. And he had an old Chevy pickup, and it just always had something cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how I grew up, is looking at those cars and wanting those cars. And then my dad got me interested in them, and he basically gave me the garage when I was in high school and let me do whatever I wanted to do with cars. And so you're kind of doing that with your godson, which is really, really cool, because, the thing is, the cars and the car culture is dying unless we bring up that next generation.
Right.
And that's the thing, is it doesn't have to be something where, you teach them how to rebuild an engine at 3, but the fact that you're giving them a screwdriver and you let him try to break something loose and showing him how to do things, that, to me, that's something that's inspiring. That is what we need to do, is we need to teach that next generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when it comes to that, I'm big on that. Cause with him, I pay attention to him. Like he my godson, but he been with me since he was like a month old. You might as well say he my child. He just didn't come. But I pay attention to the stuff he really like. Cause one thing I learned is that if you really pay attention to a child, you can see from an early age and have an idea of what they was made for, what they really like. And see, with him, he really liked tools. Like, he'll have his little play tools, and he'll carry them with him. All his little tools, his little play drill, play screwdriver, all that be in a Ziploc bag. And he's like, Mike, I got to get my tools. He'll have his tools. And one thing I noticed about him is that he know how stuff go together. It'll be stuff he know exactly how it go together. You don't even have to tell him. He just know. And so when he's seeing that, like, it was one person on one of the deacons from the church, he said, shoot, he might be a little engineer or something. And I just pay attention to that. And then the stuff he be interested in, like, right now, he waiting on me to buy him an excavator. I'm doing everything I can to get this boy this little excavator. An excavator at 3 years old. Mike, I'm like, man, what is an excavator? And I knew what it was. I just didn't know it was called an excavator. Yeah. And so it's stuff like that, And so and he be really interested in doing stuff, whether he outside. Like, let's say if I'm washing the car or something, be outside, he ready to do something. He ready to spray some chemical or something like that. I have to tell him, hey, now, stop spraying my stuff. Be careful. But I said with him, I want him to know as much as he could possibly know, because it's a lot of young men now who don't know how to do a lot of the stuff. Like, if you seen the video that I said when I addressed the racism and everything, like, it's the truth. It's a lot of young boys who don't know how to change no tire. They don't know how to change no brakes. They don't know how to change oil, none of that. And I learned that from my daddy. My daddy taught me all that stuff. I learned that from watching him, because my daddy, he's a great mechanic. And he the reason why I'm interested in cars the way I am. Mm-hmm. And so I'm passing the same thing on to him. And it's not that I'm forcing it on to him, It's just so that he will at least know. So that when that day comes, he'll know how to do this or he'll know how to do that. And then I'll watch it, just see what it is that he really interested in. And I help him to cultivate that. It's not forcing anything upon him. And so, but yeah, that's a big thing. And the reason why he in my life in the first place is because I didn't want him to come up without a father figure. And so that's why he's in my life in the first place, because I didn't want him to be another one that fell to the wayside, that didn't have a father who has no guide, no mentorship, no nothing. And then he just end up lost.
Yep. And that's one of the reasons that an added reason that I wanted you to come on this podcast is because that's such a positive thing. And just seeing you interact with him on those short couple of videos, you can tell that's important. And I'm the same way. I think you and I are probably connected somewhere in our past lives or something, because we both learned the same way. I hung out with my dad, and he used to go out and work on his cars, and then I would work with him. And then eventually I went to school to learn to be a mechanic, and he still comes over and helps me sometimes. He's 82. And it's just something that came to me naturally from him, and to be able to pass it. Like, I have 3 kids, and all 3 of my daughters, they know how to change oil. They know they've all 3 had to polish a set of headlights on an old car that they own. They all know how to wash cars, ceramic coating, change tires, everything. Because I don't feel like that is something that you don't need to know. You have to know how to take care of something. If you're going to own it, you got to take care of it. And I think that's the part that needs to be instilled in everybody is, at the end of the day, you need to know how to do the very basic stuff. Because if you're driving on the highway, and I don't care, old car, new car, whatever, and the car just stops, You at least need to know how to troubleshoot something to be able to decide if it's something that's major or minor. And I think with somebody like yourself or me, where we can tear a car completely apart, put it back together. That's just something, especially with an older car, you got to know how to do that. Because if you're going to drive something from the 60s or the 50s, you better know how to make it run, because it's going to stop on you some point.
Yeah.
Well, one, and I want to lean into this a little bit because I want to give kudos to your dad. Because there's a societal narrative going on that Black fathers are absent in their families.
Right.
And what I found in my experience, because I do a lot of work with Involved Dad out of Detroit, Michigan with Sean Hart, there are a lot of dads in African-American families and Latin American families. They are leaning into their kids. And we got to stop this assumption that they're absent. And so that is a real tribute to your dad. So kudos and honor to your dad. Thank you very much for creating such an amazing young man. And then for you to lean into that legacy of going, you know what, I'm going to make sure my godson has some type of father figure in his life. Because, dude, when you involve men in the lives of children, it has a lasting impact. There's something that a man brings to a young boy that is different than what a mom brings to a young boy. And both are needed, right? And clearly you have taken that legacy that your dad gave you and you're passing it on to your son. And I think that we need to stop making assumptions and allow people to be the leaders in their families and in their communities that I see in you. And that is a true legacy.
Yeah, and see, man, you just don't know how much I really appreciate my daddy and how much I really love him for what he did. Because, like, with him coming up, he didn't come up around his biological father like that too much. But the thing I appreciate about him is that he didn't use that as an excuse to not take care of me. You see what I'm saying? He did absolutely everything that he possibly could. Like, when I just look back on my life and like just seeing the different things, like how hard he worked and everything, man, I appreciate my daddy for everything. And I try to tell him whenever I can. Like, I don't say it as much, but when it really hit me, I call him and be like, hey man, Dad, I just want to tell you I appreciate you. I really do appreciate you. Because it's been so many times where it'd be something that might happen. Like, even with a car to this day, I might not even know exactly. Like, man, I don't even know what to do. I can call him and he'll either tell me or he'll come. But I also try to make sure I know everything, because me and him, we had a real conversation one day. A real conversation to where like, I wasn't trying to call him for something. And it wasn't because I didn't want him around me. It was just that, man, I need to figure this out. And while we were talking, I told him, I said, look, man, I'm trying to figure this out because I ain't gonna have you always. And he said, yeah, son, you ain't gonna have me always, but use me while you got me.
Yes.
That was so real to me. You know what I mean? So
dude, that just hits the feels. I mean, it's and it's where it's really why we work, right? I mean, we're building businesses, we're done, but the real reason why we work is because we're trying to create an environment for our kids. My son Ashton, he has a natural aptitude for cars and mechanics and ninja. I mean, dude, he just loves it. And his Ford, that says a lot right there. His Ford 250 wasn't working right. And he's like, dude, I can fix this. And so can you please move the boat? And I'll move the Ford in the back. And so, dude, this thing is a beast. Right. It took 8 of us to push it up our garage to get it behind the fence. And so now he's been spending the last week tearing this sucker apart. And I mean, he's got the whole bottom end taken out, and he pulled it out. He goes, Dad, I found the problem because it wasn't turning over. And the reason why is because it wasn't getting enough fuel pressure, because a little bearing broke loose and ran through the whole bottom end. And you could see the little trails of this pin bearing. And I'm like, we're talking to Reed. He's like, well, you might want to just put in a new engine. He goes, no, I'm gonna take it all apart and I'm gonna rebuild it. So he's in the middle of it. But it's like, if you don't create that environment for them to lean into their natural gifts, you're never going to see what they can really do. And dude, they may just surprise you. Just like he's surprising me. He's like, yeah, Dad, I can fix it. I'm like, okay.
And it's funny because like my kids, one day and I've told the story on the podcast before, but I've never told you. So I'm going to say it anyway. My middle daughter one day decided she didn't want to, it was a weekend and everybody's doing kind of chores and doing stuff around, right? And she didn't want to be in the house with Mom for some reason. She's a teenage girl. I don't want to be with Mom. I'm going to go out with Dad. And my wife said, that's fine. Go out with your dad. She comes out, what are we going to do today, Dad? Because she thought I was out there having fun. I said, well, today we're going to change the brakes on a 3/4 ton truck. And we're going to polish some headlights. So you better get some coveralls on because you're about to get dirty. So she changed the brakes on a 3/4 ton Chevy pickup, polished the headlights. I mean, worked her butt off, sore by the time you get home, man.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's been out there, but she also is the one now. She's 22 now. She'll come out in the shop. She'll help me detail and polish a whole car, ceramic coat it, do everything. And she's good at it. She'll help me do construction projects. She helped me build a little apartment. I mean, my other two daughters are good and they'll help me do stuff, but they're different in different areas, right? I heard you were talking about muscle cars. We are Tatum Trout out of Colorado. Mike, that's another guy you want to connect with. He's a good guy. He's got Camaros and his dad's got El Caminos and Harleys, and he's another good guy in the detailing industry.
Yeah.
And also Rashid Baker down there in Jacksonville, Florida. And I want to go back to what we were talking about a minute ago. You were talking about fathers and specifically Black fathers having the stigma that they're absent. And I want to shout out to Rashid Baker. Because Rashid not only involves his children, but he's helping bring up his children, and his wife is pregnant, and he could not be more excited about it. And Rashid is, like, to me, the epitome of a great father. And and I know a lot of people say this, it's cliche, but I don't even think about Rashid as a Black father. I just think about him as a father. He's a father, good father. He's there for his kids.
Man. He's
he works
a good husband.
Every day. And I think that's the thing is when I see what you're doing, and on the weekends you're working on your own stuff, and in the evenings, but then during the day you're doing videos and you're helping people understand about detailing. You're bringing up that next generation of detailer. And so that's one of the reasons why I look at the stuff that happens online and I'm like, I have a saying years and years ago, and Jody and I both were, when we were younger, we were hotheads. Both of us, real hotheads. And then,
I'm shut your pile, or I'm gonna punch you.
Yeah, I got scars and all kinds of back history about being stupid. But when I see that, I look at it and I go, somebody made this statement to me years and years ago. You have to give somebody permission to affect you.
Yep.
And the thing is you didn't give those people permission to affect you in a negative manner.
Mm-hmm.
You were straightforward. You were very, very direct to them. And I love it. I love it. The public service announcement. That was so
PSA
poetic. So poetic. And that's the thing is I think people need to just look at what they're doing. And I think in our culture, we all think it's super funny. Oh, let's tell this joke or let's poke fun at this person. And that's okay. Jody and I can poke fun all the time. But but the thing about it is when you're doing that behind a keyboard, you don't understand any of the background story. None of that, right? You don't know where you came from. They don't know who you are. They don't know what you're doing. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, here's a young man that's building a 69 Plymouth Road Runner, which is a beautiful car. They don't make them anymore. There's only so many of them left. Mm-hmm. And not only that, but you got friends involved. You're in somebody's shop. You're showing your godson. I'm like, there is absolutely zero negativity in this whole scenario.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, the more people that we can get to help you out, to follow you, to get involved, and to watch what you're doing, it's just going to breathe. Somebody else is going to get inspired, man. Somebody's going to see that and they're going to be like, man, I've always loved those cars. Maybe I'll get one. And some kid's going to see that. They're going to see you driving down the street in that Road Runner, and they're going to be like, I want to be that guy. I want to have that Road Runner. And that was me. I mean, I can remember that when I was a kid, watching all these cars go by. Seeing I had an uncle that had a Corvette. He had a 67 convertible Corvette. Man, he'd come over and he was the coolest guy on the planet because he had this Corvette. And cars evoke so much emotion.
Yeah.
I mean, I can know exactly how you felt bringing that car up that hill. I know exactly how you felt because I felt the same way when I was loading that 55 Chevy. Please don't wreck this car. Please don't break. Please don't break. Because you wanted it, man. And it's like, and I think that is so cool that you worked your butt off and you got what you wanted. And now
you're working your butt off to make it what better.
You want.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, on top of that, you know, like you're a family man. You show, you know, pictures of your family and all that stuff. And I'm just like, I want to meet you in person. Want to shake your hand.
Likewise.
Yep. So everybody, if you're not, again, go out and follow Mike. Go out and support him so you can see the stuff that's going on. And, you know, Glassworks Auto Care in the little town in Alabama. So we know people from Alabama.
No, Georgia.
Sorry, I was thinking of the
You're
two guys.
Thinking
Taylor
of Kramer.
Yeah, sorry.
We Alabama.
Georgia.
Where
are you at in Georgia as the state sits?
All right, so you said Jacksonville. So I'm actually an hour and a half north of Jacksonville.
Oh man, you're right there in Rashid.
You're right in Rashid.
We were just there this spring. We were literally an hour and a half away from you. So.
Yep, I'm in South Georgia. Yep.
All right. Well, the next time we come to Jacksonville, Rashid, we're taking a trip and we're going up to Georgia.
So I have a question for you. You know, as you look back at your journey, both with your dad and also becoming a business owner, right? I mean, you're pretty new business owner as a detail guy. What are one or two things that you've learned along the way that you think would be helpful for other men or women?
Other men or women, like you just mean like in general?
Well, in business or in general. Yeah.
Well, I say this, in business for sure, be dependable. Whatever you say you're gonna do that. But also be very personable with people. Like one thing that I noticed, have confidence in yourself. Cause one thing that I noticed is that they say like I can't remember the statistics when it comes to business, but they say like most businesses fail within like a certain time period. Yep. One thing that I come to realize and learn is that most times it's not because of the idea of the business. Most times these are great ideas. But the reason why a lot of the businesses fail because the entrepreneur doesn't have the confidence in themselves in their business. Or they might not necessarily have, you know, the fortitude necessary to continue on when things get hard. When things get hard, keep on pressing. Just keep pressing because it's always something greater on the other side. It's always something greater on the other side. Like when it's struggle, when you're going through something, that means that you're being tested and that you are being prepared for the next level that you're going to. Man, I'd had a situation, right? I'm not sure if you've seen it. When I had said something, I'd have caused a whole frenzy. I caused a whole frenzy in the detailing for money group when I said something about dealerships. When I said something about used car dealerships, I did not expect for this to happen like that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, it caused a whole frenzy. And I'm like, man, I'm basically just saying, man, like, really what I'm saying is that my experience with these used car dealerships has not been great. These people want masterpieces out of garbage. And it's impossible.
Yep.
It's impossible. And then, you know, here it is. I done got an offer from another used dealer where anyway, that fell by the wayside. I could have been discouraged. But I said, man, you know what? No, it's something better on the other side. Here it is on the other side. 3 days later, after I dissolved that relationship, I get in touch with a guy where he gets in touch with me. This man don't even get me started on the cars he got from a whole bunch of old school C10 Chevrolet trucks, a 64 Chevrolet Impala, a old Cadillac, man, don't get me started.
Is that the shop you're in with the 2-story?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's the key to this is that there's so many people that get stuck worrying about what the other guy's doing. Yeah. Right? They focus on what you're doing and oh man, you're not doing it right. Well, focus on yourself. In your market where you're at, that could be the right way to do it. But in my market, you got to do it a different way. We're in Idaho, right? Boise, Idaho. It's going to be almost 100 degrees next week. And you go 6 months from now and it's going to be below zero. So we get both extremes. And the thing about that is people got to navigate that. They've got to navigate the ups and the downs and the weather. The same thing if you're in like Seattle, Washington, it's rainy. If you're in Jacksonville, Florida, sometimes it's literally the 7th layer of hell with the humidity. You're just drenched by noon, right? You're right there. I was down there when the hurricane went through Jacksonville, and it was the hottest I've ever been in my life.
No, it is hot here. And
it's like the armpit of Satan.
Yeah, it is. It is literally.
It's the humidity. Look, it was hot. Let me tell you something that's funny. Monday. It was so hot Monday. Not this Monday, but last week. It was so hot. I did 1 car under the shelter and everything. So I got this place where I got contract at. Well, mind you, there is absolutely no shelter. It's just concrete and sky. So the sun beaming down. I had told the man earlier, I said, yeah, I'll be back later on today. I'm coming to start so many cars. I did that first car. I say, I'm not going back out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I say, I'm not going back out there. I called him. I said, hey man, I know I said I was coming back, but I'll be back next weekend. I'm gonna do all of them.
Yeah.
It's hot out there. He say, I understand, man. I ain't bad.
Oh yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, luckily when you're like at Rashid's place, he's got cover so you can go inside at least and some fans. But I think that's the thing is people don't realize that the environment that you're in, if you're a mobile detailer, you've got to have some way to focus on the environment you're in, whether it's a shelter or a tent or something. Because you just, you take somebody like me with a big bald head like that, I'll be dead by noon in 109 degrees.
I'm telling you, it's hot now. And this the other good thing about the guy that reached out to me. He has shelter.
Yes, sir.
So he wants me to come every couple weeks and do as many cars as I can, and he has shelter.
That's right.
This the clientele I want. Clientele with shelter.
That's right. And the thing about that is that's just, to me, that's a manifestation, right? Mm-hmm. You are looking for that kind of work. And a lot of times, especially when we were early in our business, we would pick up anything that came in. And you make mistakes. You pick up the wrong clientele. And you have to get rid of that clientele in a professional manner and take the ones you want.
Look, I learned that quick. I had a friend, well, not a friend. He's most definitely not a friend right now. Unfortunately, I had to fire this young man because he committed an egregious crime while he was with me. But anyway, we was working on a truck and it had maggots in the back. It was, I'm talking, it had maggots, mold, it was horrible. I was mad I was actually doing this truck. And he said, hey man, you ought to do some before and after, man. Put this on Facebook. Boy, everybody want to bring the car to you. You see you bring this back. I said, no. I said, because if I put that out there, that's exactly what I'm going to get. This is not what I want. I don't care how much money I'm charging. I don't want to do this, not this. Then go out there and grab a bag and you see maggots. I'm like, oh no. And then
I'm out. That's the thing is
the price. I told her the price. She said, what? Why is it so much? I said, you ain't look at it. She said, no. I said, oh, that's why you acting like that. You ain't seen it. So I made sure I had some videos and everything. I said, look, I'm gonna send you these videos. Send the video. She said, oh my God, is that maggots? Yes, maggots.
And that's the thing is, if people don't want to do that kind of work, they don't want to advertise. I see so many people doing that online where they're posting these just horrible, and you're like, man, I don't want to do that. If the police are bringing it, it's got caution tape on it. I'm out. I don't want to touch that. And that's we know a lady, Diane Balboni, and she will not work on certain size of vehicles. She's a very small gal. She doesn't want to work on 3/4 ton trucks. She's like, it takes too much. I got to have ladders and all stuff. So she won't work on them. She is a small car specialist. And I think that's the thing is pick your thing. Go into it. Like Jody said, lean into it hard. You're getting into the kind of cars and trucks that you like. Beautiful C10s and 64 Impalas and Road Runners and stuff. Do that. I mean, I would do that all day long. I would love that part of it more than a brand new Corvette or something. I mean, whatever. They're making them today, right? But if you give me a 67 Corvette, I'm all over it.
man.
62, 63, 65, 66.
Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. I get excited talking about it.
There's Mr. Jason White. There's another gentleman from Jacksonville, Florida. He's got a podcast out there. Look up Jason White, and he's got a really good podcast out there as well. So, well, before we wrap this up, is there anything else you want to bring up or you want to say to anybody out there before we call it a day?
And all I can say is, just continue to, for sure, with my faith, man, trust God in everything. And everything. Trust God in everything. I'm telling you, He will never fail you at any point in your life. Remain consistent in what you do, but also really believe in yourself. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid or scared of anything. Do not be scared. Do not be afraid. When you're scared and you're afraid, that actually makes you focus better so that you will succeed. And if you're afraid of the way you don't do anything, it's worse than being afraid and trying and failing.
I love that. I love that.
So you get everybody follow, like, share, subscribe, go out, follow Mike, follow us, YouTube channels, man. I mean, that's how we enjoy showing people, just like you do with your cars and your detailing. We enjoy showing people that, and that's a good way to educate people and get them involved. So I appreciate everything you're doing. Keep doing it, man. You got supporters all over, and I'm just glad to see you doing the things you're doing.
Look, and I really do appreciate y'all's support. I really do. You just don't know how much I appreciate it, for real. I really do.
Yep. Well, let us know if you ever need anything. If we're, like I said, next time we're in Jacksonville, we're driving an hour and a half.
Yes, we are. We're going to come see you. So.
Hey, you can come see me. I'll come see y'all. Either way, it don't matter. We going to see each other.
That's going to be awesome.
Right. So, all right, man. Well, I appreciate it. And we will see everybody next week, same time, same channel. And hopefully you guys will be checking out Mike Murk. Actually, we're going to be an hour earlier next week.
So we will be at our normal time next week at 10 o'clock. And then we will be on the road to the Houston Shine Time Expo. Yep. So you're going to see lots of us next week.
Live from the Houston Lone Star Museum. We're doing a bunch of aviation stuff. There's going to be exotics and all over. So go out there and subscribe, and you'll find out when we're going to do all that stuff. And you'll be seeing us next week.
That's nice.
Thanks, Michael. And the rest of you guys,
See ya.
See ya.